Why, Oliver? Why?
Because our billings are down more than 20%. We're looking for savings all round. It's as simple as that.
So I'm fired.
The conditions have made you redundant. It's not quite the same thing.
What's the difference?
That check I've just given you for a year's salary and the kind of reference you'll get. That's the difference.
Still the elbow, isn't it?
Kathy, I'm sorry. Really, I am. But you're not the only one we're having to do this to. And when things pick up again, well, if you're still available and you want to come back here...
Thanks. And meanwhile?
There are other agencies. And you're a bloody good account executive.
Yes, I am, but I might not get fixed up for months. Of course, I could always start up on my own.
That would be bad timing just now, I would say.
Not if you kept it small and specialized.
Okay, supposing you could get something like that off the ground. What about capital? Have you thought of the kind of money you would need?
Too much. Otherwise, I would have done it a couple of years ago.
Listen, this isn't the end of the world. With your track record, everything will come good for you. Even better than here, I'm certain of that. Just a little patience, that's all you're going to need. First off, I think if I were you, I'd take a holiday.
I've just started one, Oliver, haven't I?
You know what I mean. Get away for a while.
Well, maybe I will. But more immediately, I've got a better idea.
Oh. What's that?
To get well and truly smashed.
Your father's name was Richard Stephen Durrell, and you were born in Oslo on the 16th of November 1955 to Kirsten Durrell, née Inge.
Yes, that's right.
Both your parents are deceased. Your father died in 1962 and your mother in 1980.
I brought the certificates with me, as you asked.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Durrell.
Someone's left me something in their will.
You guessed.
It wasn't difficult. Possibly learn something to your advantage. I didn't think solicitors said things like that anymore, Mr. Stoddard.
We've grown no less cautious with the advent of the electronic typewriter, I assure you. But you're absolutely right, I'm happy to say. For many years, we have handled the legal affairs in this country of a group of Norwegian companies called Jørdal Industries. 3 months ago, Mr. Hjalmar Jørdal, the chairman and managing director, died, and shortly after his death, we received this letter from his lawyer in Ålesund.
Where?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I assumed... There we are. There it is, on the west coast. That's where Mr. Jørdal lived and where many of his business interests are based. Now, according to the letter, among the other beneficiaries in Mr. Jørdal's will was a Catherine Elizabeth Durrell, whose last known address was 16 High Bank Road, Guildford.
That was my mother's address, but I left there some years ago.
So I understand, but with that information, it wasn't difficult to trace you.
So, what have I inherited then? A set of spoons?
Rather more than that, Miss Durrell. In fact, it's a very substantial bequest. Mr. Jørdal has left you some property consisting of 2 houses and outbuildings standing in all 24 hectares of land, that's about 60 acres, and a fish processing factory.
You're not serious.
I promise you, solicitors don't joke about things like this. My warmest congratulations. You will, of course, have to go to Ålesund to finally establish your claim on the estate, but that will only be a formality. Meanwhile, though, if you have any questions...
Just one. Why did Hjalmar Jørdal mention me in his will at all? I've never heard of him.
Flight number SK516 from London to Bergen has now landed. Train-nummer S4516 fra London til Bergen nettopp landet.
Cabin hour. Through there in the long passage.
Thank you. Could you tell me, please, what time we arrive in Alston tomorrow morning?
A moment, please.
Excuse me. All being well, we shall be in Alderson at about 12:15.
Oh, thank you. All being well?
I do not think you need have any fear. The weather forecast is good.
Oh, I see. I thought we might not sail on time.
That is unheard of. The coastal steamers are never late leaving Bergen. Every night at 11 o'clock, precisely.
Thank you.
Oh, please, won't you join me?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Did you sleep well?
Yes, very well, thanks.
You're making the round trip to Kirkenes and back, are you?
No, I'm only going as far as Alston.
Ah, is that so?
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, please.
Ja, jag har lite kaffe, tack.
Yes, originally I was going to fly up, but when I was booking my ticket in London, the travel agent told me about this coastal steamer service. And it sounded like a much more interesting way to make the journey. So, here I am.
For me, unless I'm in a great hurry, which fortunately is seldom the case, this is the only way to travel in this part of Norway.
Are you going far?
Like you, headed to Alderson.
Oh, really? Is that where you live?
Yes, I'm happy to say.
Oh, what's it like?
You've not been there before.
No, never.
It's only a small town, but it's very beautiful. Then, of course, I am prejudiced. Forgive me. My name is Albrechtsen. Dr. Albrechtsen.
Catherine Darrell.
Yes. Well, to be honest, you're expected today from the beginning. As soon as you said you were leaving the ship in Aalesund, I thought then that that was possibly who you might be.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
But you will, I think, when I tell you that I've been doctor to the Jordal family for a great many years. And that I'm also a close friend who enjoys their confidence.
I see.
And also, since I too received a bequest, I was present when Hjalmar Jordal's will was read.
Well, then, I'm very pleased to have met you like this, Doctor. Because perhaps you can explain to me why a complete stranger, someone I've never laid eyes on, should have left me anything.
He was unknown to you?
Totally, until 2 weeks ago.
But your parents then, they must surely have...
They're both dead.
Oh, forgive me, please.
And I know that neither of them knew Jordal either. I don't really remember my father, but my mother only died 4 years ago, and she certainly never mentioned him to me, not even in a passing reference. And yet she was the only possible connection because she was Norwegian.
From what part of Norway was she?
Oslo.
And what was her name before she married?
Inger, Kirsten Inger.
Well, as far as I know, the Jordals certainly have no blood ties with anyone of that name.
Or any other kind of ties. I telephoned my grandparents in Minnesota. My grandfather was a chemist in a brewery in Oslo. He was offered a job in America, so he and my grandmother emigrated there a year or so before I was born. And they're as mystified as I am, because the name Jordal means nothing whatever to them.
Perhaps some other branch of your family.
They're the only relatives I have, the ones there.
Then there can be no question about it. Clearly, the legacy was meant for you, in your own right.
But you just don't leave a factory and a house with 60 acres of land to someone you've never met or had anything to do with.
No. There has to have been a link of some kind. When did your father and mother marry?
1952.
And your mother had been living in Oslo until then, had she?
Yes, that's where they were married and where I was born.
And when was that?
3 years later, November 1955. Of course I see what you're getting at. That possibility has crossed my mind too, but I don't believe it. And if you'd met my mother, you'd know why. And what's more, she adored my father.
Again, forgive me. That, I'm certain, was an unworthy thought.
Even so, I wouldn't mind betting it's a thought that's in the mind of a good few people right now.
If only there were a more obvious explanation. But then Hjalmar Jordal was never a man for the obvious.
Tell me about Jordal.
He was a good man, but a very private person. Even I, who was his friend, could not say that I really knew him. And when his wife died, well, then he seemed to draw back even more from those around him. But then her death was a terrible blow to him.
Did they have any children?
2 daughters, Ingrid and Anna-Marie. Anna-Marie is the elder by 2 years. She will be 28 this year.
Are they married?
Ingrid is. You feel that you're robbing them of their inheritance, is that it?
Well, I am. Part of it, anyhow.
It is a very small part, I assure you, and they will not miss it. When he was 26, Hjalmar Jordal had nothing. He was the only son of a poor family and he worked for one of the local clipfish factories. By the time he was 35, though, he owned that factory. Half of Aalesund, too. And that was just the beginning. Today, the dozen companies which are Jordal Industry have a turnover each year of many millions of kroner. Between them, Anna-Marie, Ingrid, and her husband Lars Nielsen now own Jordal Industries. So you see, my dear, you are robbing no one. There are moments when I still find it difficult to accept that he's gone, you know. But then he was a remarkable man in every way. He seemed indestructible.
What was it then? A heart attack?
No, nothing like that. Hjalmar had a heart rate that a man half his age would have envied, and the constitution of a bull elephant in the prime of life. I can't remember him once being ill. He was the best kind of patient.
What happened then?
It was an accident. He took his boat out on the fjord alone when he really ought not to have done. There was a storm blowing up. He got into difficulties and was washed overboard and drowned. He is greatly missed, and not just by his family and friends, by the whole town. journey's end. We've arrived. That is Wallerson.
Hvordan var det I Bergen?
Well, Irena, I vart fall ikke. Well, this is who you are waiting for, I think. Catherine Darrow. Catherine and I became friends on the trip. Let me introduce you. This is Ingrid, and this is her husband, Lars Nielsen.
Hello, welcome to Olsen.
We are very pleased to meet you.
How do you do?
The solicitors in London wrote to Bjarne Longvar and told him when you were coming.
Mr. Longvar is our lawyer.
Oh, yes, I see.
Can we give you a lift, Anna?
Such a short distance. No, thank you. The walk wouldn't be good. Well, goodbye. I hope to meet again.
So do I, Doctor. Goodbye.
We're giving a small party for Catherine tomorrow night at our house. You and Liv will come, won't you?
Thank you. We'd like to. Until then, adieu.
Adieu.
How do Anna?
Well, shall we go then?
You will stay with us, I hope.
Of course you will. Where else?
For the time being, at least. We were counting on it.
Well, that's very kind, but I really wasn't expecting it.
Unless, of course, you prefer a hotel.
No, it's not that. It's just, well, I don't want to impose.
Believe me or not, it is our pleasure.
After all, in a way, you're part of the family, aren't you? Well, you know what I mean. And from what Bjarne Longvar's told us about you, we feel we know you already. So, you're not a complete stranger as far as we're concerned.
Well, if you're sure.
We would be disappointed if you didn't. So please.
Thank you. It's surprising how many Norwegians speak such good English.
No, it's a second language for most of us.
You have not been to this country before?
No. Well, not since I was a small child, anyhow. What a lovely room.
I'm pleased that you like it. I hope you will be comfortable.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
May we call you Catherine?
Of course.
Good. Well then, Catherine, I will see you later. I must go back to the office for a while.
You will not be home later, will you?
By 4, at the latest. Please, feel at home here.
You're both very kind.
I will leave you to unpack. And you would perhaps like to take a shower. Anyway, come down when you're ready. Are you hungry?
Not desperately.
I will prepare something light for us, because you will eat well tonight, I think.
Sounds great.
Good.
Er den här?
Ja, hon håller på att packa ut. Jag är snart tillbaka.
Hello, Catherine.
Oh, hello.
I'm Anna-Marie Jordahl.
Hello.
Do you like it?
Yes, it's very interesting. Who painted it?
Ingrid.
Really? Is she a professional artist?
No, just an amateur. But a good one, I think.
Oh, yes, very talented. Is there any more of her work here?
Sadly, no. 2 or 3 years ago, my sister suddenly decided that none of her work was any good. So she took all of her canvases out into the garden and burnt them. That one only survived because I threatened never to speak to her again if she didn't keep it. Which was a good thing, because now she's given up painting. Would you like a drink?
Yes, thank you.
Vodka? Gin?
Vodka and tonic. Stunning view. You know, it's strange, but back in England, you never think of Norway without seeing it covered in snow.
But you know better than that, surely. I understood you were born here, in Oslo?
Well, only just. And I don't remember it at all.
That's my father.
What a strong face.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know what I'm doing here. I've no right to be. And I can't imagine why you're all being so pleasant.
Why should we be anything else?
A total stranger inherits part of your father's estate. I'd resent that if the situation was reversed. And I can't even offer you an explanation as to why I was in the will.
Yes, I know. I met Dr. Albrechtsen in town and he told me. Well, it's a mystery to us too. But that's what my father wanted. And as far as my sister and I and Lars are concerned, that's the end of the matter. And while it's true you've arrived here as a stranger to us, it's our hope, believe me, that when you leave it'll be as a friend.
Thank you.
What are your plans?
Well, to be honest, just now I'm looking for capital. And I thought that putting the factory on the market might be a good way of raising some.
And the rest of the property?
That I don't know. Alston's a fair distance from London. A bit too far, I think, for a weekend cottage.
Well, whatever you decide, I hope that once the formalities are completed, you'll stay on for a while.
Lunch is ready, but it is only a cold table, so there's no hurry. Whenever you feel like it.
Do you want one of these?
What is it?
Vodka and tonic?
Yes, thank you.
Do you have any children?
No. Lars and I decided to wait a while before starting a family. First, we wish to enjoy just being together. And there's plenty of time.
Of course. I was just admiring your painting.
It's not very good, I'm afraid.
But your sister tells me you don't paint anymore.
It no longer interests me. Tack.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good luck.
May I never move from this spot. You wait until you see Jordalsholmen. That's where the houses you now own are. In the morning I'll drive you out there. But first I'll show you the clipfish factory.
Having first explained what clipfish is, I hope. It sounds faintly disgusting.
It's dried salted cod. Processing it has been a big industry along these coasts since, as far back as the 1600s. And the factory you've inherited was the first business my father bought. It was the foundation stone of the whole Jordahl Industries group.
And that's where it should have stayed, shouldn't it, in the group?
Now it's only a minor part of Jordahl interests. And it's yours, to do with as you wish.
Are you sure you can spare the time to drive me around tomorrow? I don't want to be a nuisance.
You're not. It'll be my pleasure. And I think they can manage at work without me for a few hours.
What do you do?
I design furniture. You're sitting on one of my chairs.
You designed these?
You like them?
Yes. Who do you design for?
For myself now. Since my father died, the factory's mine.
I hope this is all right for you, eating at home. Anna-Marie thought that we should take you to a restaurant, but I felt that, well, on your first evening.
And you were right. This is much better than going anywhere.
Tomorrow night, we've invited a few of our closest friends here to meet you. You will like them, I'm sure, and it will give you a chance to get to know some people. Norwegians are rather shy and reserved.
With strangers?
Even with their nearest and dearest, I sometimes think.
Come on, then. Isn't anyone going to eat?
lot of trouble for you.
No, of course it isn't. I have a genuine excuse to take a day off. So you see, you're doing me a favor. Well, this is it. A lot of the fish is exported. Thousands and thousands of kilos every year. Mr. Thunheim has been general manager here for how many years now?
9.
And my father thought very highly of him. Much of the credit for the way the factory has developed lately is due to him.
Oh, no, Mr. Yodel was responsible for that. I merely followed instructions. Of course, I have made some suggestions for improvements from time to time. And Mr. Yodel never interfered with the day-to-day running of the business. He left that entirely to me. You would like to look over the works, I imagine.
Yes, I would. Thank you. Makes you wonder if there are any fish left in the sea.
Yes. Last year, nearly 100 million kilos of salt fish of one type or another was processed in Norway.
I understand that a lot of it is exported.
Yes, it is. Nearly 60%. It is sent to Italy, Spain, Portugal, Brazil, Mexico, West Indies, to many countries. Nearly 50. So you see, the problem here, in this area, we need to increase it in order to meet the demand. So, next year I intend to extend the plant. That is, of course, if you approve.
Well, it sounds like a good idea. But the final decision is not up to me, Mr. Thunheim. This isn't my line of business.
If you are thinking of disposing of the factory, Miss Darrell, perhaps you could do me a favor.
Yes, if I can.
I would very much like to buy it myself, but I will, of course, have to consult the bank and negotiate a loan from them to do that.
What amount would be involved?
A great deal, surely.
Yes, I suppose so. And the island belongs to me too?
Yes. The island and both houses.
And the land behind there?
And on either side. It used to be a farm. Many years ago, though. That's when it was called Hegraholmen. Heron Island. There's a lot of them over there.
It's beautiful.
It was from here that my father sailed his boat on the day he was drowned.
Oh, it's lovely.
What is it?
This picture.
It's a portrait of my mother. My father commissioned it the year they were married. She was nearly 20 years younger than he was. Only 33 when she died. Just a week after my 10th birthday.
You and Ingrid are both so like her.
Some ways, perhaps. Her name was Freya.
How sad that she should have died so young.
It was her choice. Didn't Dr. Albrechtsen tell you? She committed suicide. My father's personal papers have been removed, of course. But before they were, out of curiosity, I had a look to see if there was any reference to you or your parents. But there was nothing. So now this house and everything in it belongs to you.
Not the portrait. You'll want to have that, surely.
No, it was my father's and it belongs here. And Ingrid and I do not need a painting to remind us of her.
I didn't realise this was your family home.
Please, you mustn't feel like that. There's no reason for you to. This was never my home. Nor Ingrid's. Does the island have electricity?
Yes, but there's no telephone. Over there, you're almost completely cut off from the outside world.
Are the keys here?
Yes.
How do you get across?
It's a dinghy.
Good. Shall we go then?
You can, of course, but forgive me, I'll not come with you. You see, it was my mother's house. Hers alone. It was a place where she could be entirely on her own, whenever she wanted to be. And she was living there when... I haven't been to the island since. I don't think anyone in the family has. Not even my father. But you go ahead. I'll wait here for you.
Of course not.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Come on.
You must stay till June 23rd, at least.
What happens then?
It's Midsummer Eve, and that's a big celebration here in Norway.
The festivities go on all night. It's great fun. You mustn't miss that. People take their boats out into the fjord and have picnics on the beach or in the country somewhere. And there's bonfires everywhere and fireworks. Everyone sings and dances.
And the good men round it all off with a very nasty hangover.
Oh, how sweet of you.
Here's someone you were bound to meet sooner or later. Good evening, Biana.
Hello, Anna. Liv.
Hello, Biana. How are you?
Oh, so much work I cannot tell you. That's why I'm late. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Catherine, this is Bjarne Langva.
Hello. Good evening, Miss Stella. Very pleased to meet you.
We told you, I think. Bjarne is the family lawyer.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry. I should have contacted you as soon as I arrived.
I'm glad you didn't. I haven't had a minute to spare these last 2 days. But if you come to my office tomorrow morning at, say, 10 o'clock, we'll settle everything then. Will that be convenient?
Yes, that'll be fine.
Good. So, how are you liking Olison?
Standing there.
Thank you. Here you are.
Thanks.
Skål.
Skål.
I hear you went out to Joddersholmen today.
Yes.
What did you think of your property?
Oh, it's a glorious spot. The farmhouse is lovely.
Did you go across to the island?
No, we didn't have time. What a beautiful woman Freya was.
Oh, yes, of course. The portrait. Extremely beautiful.
How sad. Her to die in the way she did, I mean. She killed herself, Anna-Marie said.
Yes.
That must have been a terrible time. Particularly for Anna-Marie and Ingrid.
They were both quite young.
Yes, but it's a difficult thing for anyone to cope with. Children especially.
It was a great shock for everyone. What else did Anna-Marie tell you?
Nothing. Just that her mother committed suicide. Why?
She left no note to explain. But she'd been ill for a long time, so... a fit of depression, perhaps, who knows? And as far as Hjalmar was concerned, the question was irrelevant. He had lost her. So knowing why she did what she did would have done nothing to ease the pain which she lived from then on. And now he too has gone. So, let the dead bury their dead. That's best. Don't you agree?
I will do.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Ah. You must be the English woman, Catherine Durrell.
Yes, I am. And you're trespassing.
Possibly. I wasn't aware you'd already moved in.
I haven't. That's beside the point. You're on my property.
My name is Bjornsson. Anders Bjornsson. I'm a journalist with the local newspaper. Posten.
How did you know who I am?
Everyone in Olesen knows you've arrived, I think. And why you've come. Look, I'm sorry. If I'd known you were here, I would have asked for permission.
Didn't you see my car?
Could be anyone's. And I've said I'm sorry.
What were you looking for in there?
I'm following up a theory of mine.
Oh, and what theory is that?
I don't believe Hjalmar Jordal's death was an accident. I think he was murdered.